What's up guys? Today I'm going to share the #1 tip for landing a job with us or anywhere else. Let's go. In the last few years that I've been running Zendev, I've had hundreds of interviews with different people applying for a job with us. And there's one common denominator that all the people that got a job at our company had, and I'm going to share that with you today. First thing to note is that there's an infamous saying, there's no such thing as a stupid question, only a stupid answer. And the reason we say this is because we want to encourage people to ask questions. We want to create a safe space where they can feel safe to ask questions. And I agree 100% with this. The problem is when people don't come prepared out of laziness, when they just waste their time asking questions that the simplest of Google searches would answer them. If you're applying for a job with us, the first question that I usually ask is, what do you know about us, the company? And if the answer is nothing, the chances of you getting a job with us is slim to none basically, because you showed me that you didn't even take 15 minutes of time to go to our website and see what it is that we do. You're just looking for any job basically. So a really bad answer would be, well, I don't know anything. What do you guys do? A really good answer would be, well, I see that you guys do e-commerce. Can you tell me more about the size of the companies that you work with? That would show general interest and understanding for what we're doing and what our challenges might be. Trust me when I say that I've written off very senior developers in the first 5 minutes of an interview because they came completely unprepared and very nonchalant. Because if you want me to be enthusiastic about you, you have to show me that you're enthusiastic about us. Here's a little story about how I landed my first full-time job. And if you're currently looking for work, I think this can be really useful for you. In 2010, I applied for an IT job in San Francisco. And it was a phone interview, and it was basically the first real job interview that I had ever had. The first thing I did was that I read up as much as I possibly could on the company itself. And then I literally Googled common job interview questions. And I listed out the 20 most common questions that I could find online that would kind of be repeating themselves. And then I wrote down my answers word by word. And then I memorized those answers by heart. And sure enough, most of the questions I got were amongst those questions. And then I also knew that at the end they would ask me if I had any questions. So I prepared 3 questions. And they were both questions, but also an opportunity for me to show off some knowledge to them. For example, I specifically remember that I asked, what is the dress code on your company? And I asked that for 2 reasons. Number 1, I really did want to know what the dress code was. And number 2, I wanted to show that I had an understanding for the US market, because dress codes in Sweden are basically non-existent except for if you work at a bank or something like that. Most companies in Sweden don't have dress codes. So I wanted to show off that I had an understanding for the US culture. And what did their CEO say? He said, good question. It shows that you have an understanding for the US culture. 30 minutes into the interview, the CEO simply just said, okay, you got the job. And why I know that I did really good on this interview is because I know that a friend of mine was supposed to have an interview with the same company just a few hours later. But obviously I impressed the CEO enough that he right off the bat told me, you're going to get the job either way. This is just an example, but the takeaway from this story is that if you want to impress people, come prepared and show interest in them. If this was valuable information for you, please click and subscribe to our channel, Business Bits. Follow me on LinkedIn, Sanad. And if you have any comments, any thoughts, please leave them down below, and I'll talk to you guys soon.